Things are really looking good for the Magic Knights right now. Although they're currently down 2 captains, Asta is still not back in the Clover Kingdom, and their opponents are all much more powerful than they could ever imagined. Things still seem to be moving in the Magic Knight's favor, and it's all thanks to Yuno's Neverland. His brand new monozone that managed to drastically boost the power of the Magic Knights, allowing them to fight back against the Angels. Not to mention their most powerful enemy, Lucius. Yeah, Yuno's already proved to him that he's essentially immune to his time magic, meaning that he's basically made half of Lucius's power null and void. We are literally only 3 chapters into Judgment Day, and things are already looking like the Magic Knights could realistically win this war. But what if I told you these past 3 chapters never actually happened? Now stick with me here because this is going to be a pretty wild theory, but it actually makes some sense. You see, I couldn't help but feel that things have just been going a little too well for the good guys so far. I mean, yeah, in the first chapter, Jack got taken out. Then in the second chapter, William got taken down as well. But also in the second chapter, Yuno single-handedly protected the Noble Realm from an attack that would have completely decimated it. Then in the third chapter, the Magic Knights basically turned the tables completely on Lucius and his paladins, with Yuno showcasing he's far surpassed Lucius's strength. And yet, despite everything going against him, Lucius still seems so confident. And I think the reason for that is because none of these past few chapters actually happened. You see, in chapter 336, Lucius revealed that through his time magic, he has the ability of future sight, allowing him to see tens of thousands of possible futures. And he specifically mentioned in that chapter that in only one of the futures he saw, do the Magic Knights manage to get the upper hand over him, and the key to that future was Yuno. And I think you guys are starting to see where I'm going with this. Everything that's gone down over the past 3 chapters was all Lucius looking into that one possible future where he ends up losing, to see how the future plays out in order to prevent those events from happening. In fact, if you even go to the official translation in chapter 336, Lucius says, "Of the tens of thousands of futures I foresee, there's just one where they have the advantage, the key to it, the singularity with 2 grimoires, one from the Spade Kingdom, the other with a 4-leaf clover. The child of the elf leader, Sylph's chosen one and the rightful heir to the Spade Kingdom throne, Yuno Grinbarrel." Yuno in Lucius's eyes is the only one that can possibly stop him. I mean, we know as fans that there's also Asta, but unlike Yuno, Lucius can't see Asta's future. So even though there is a future where even if Lucius managed to beat Yuno, Asta will still come back and save the day, Lucius can't see that timeline. So his number one priority is making sure that the one future he can see where he ends up losing doesn't come to pass, which is why for the past 3 chapters we've been looking through Lucius's eyes as he looks towards the future. And I mean, when you sit down and think about it for even a second, the ability to see into the future is quite literally broken. And if you had that ability, why wouldn't you use it, especially when you're about to go to war? Because with it, you can know exactly what your enemy's going to do before they even think of it themselves, and come up with a counter that almost guarantees you the victory. I mean, it would be pretty stupid of him not to use it, and we've seen that Lucius is a lot of things, but stupid is not one of them. Not to mention, big war arcs in Black Clover are usually broken up into 2 parts. The first part being where our heroes usually have the advantage over the enemies and seemingly have the guaranteed victory, only for something to happen at the last minute that takes a dark turn and completely flips things on their heads, with the enemy taking the advantage right back. And then the second part is usually Asta, Yuno, Noel, Yami, and any other character Tabata wants to focus on for that arc, fighting back against all odds to eke out a victory. That's almost usually how Tabata writes his story arcs, and more than likely he's going to be doing the same thing with his final saga. All in all, whether or not I'm right about all this just being a possible future is going to come down to what happens in the next few chapters. And if I'm right about all of this, then that means that chapters 357 onward are going to get a lot darker.